start now. Okay, so what I want to do now is I haven't been given a talk here in a few weeks. Sorry, but and what I'll do is I'll take off from where I left with my last little talk and give you a sample of what I'll do later at some length in the courses. And what I want to do is discuss a number of topics which I think should be of value for someone who wants to engage in the spiritual path and wants to develop, to talk about compassion and how to develop it, and the special concept of bodhicitta, which is the mind that wants to help others and to do spiritual practice in order to gain the ability to help others. That kind of motive is an elixir, and it's like an alchemy that transforms all of the experiences in your everyday life to things that become useful and beneficial for yourself. It transforms negative things into aids on your path, and it will prevent obstacles from developing, you getting problems. Because if you do a lot of good spiritual practice, people will always tell you'll burn up a lot of karma, and then you'll have more trouble. And as you get obstacles, if you aren't attached so much to your ego self-centeredness, though there will be less for our bad habits to hang on to grab onto, and to make trouble for you and prevent you from continuing on in your journey. And what I'm going to try and do is maybe discuss this under 5 points that I took notes on, and maybe we'll be able to finish it in the course of this little talk. Now, what these 5 points are is what you do is you equalize yourself with others, or you develop more equanimity between yourself and others. Think about the disadvantages of the attitude of self-cherishing from a lot of different angles. Think about the advantages and consider the advantages of cherishing others. And then exchanging yourself for others, and finally sending and taking. And these I will describe just generally. How much time do I have?
We have lots of time.
Okay. I'm going to try and keep the talk limited.
3:25.
Oh, is that how much
5 minutes?
I want to go for about 7 or 8.
Go ahead. You can
Okay.
You got 5 minutes.
Okay. Now, the first one is equalizing yourself with others. I discussed it a little bit before. You reflect upon the equality of yourself and others. Now, the way in which you're all the same is all of you have the spontaneous wish, all of you have the desire, all of us have the desire to end our suffering and to enjoy a happy state. Right? We're no different in that. So why argue so much, and why have problems with others? If we were in, let's say, we're all in the same boat, we're all like in a jail, and we're in the same cell with all the other beings around us, and we're all going to be executed at some point, then what's the point of arguing with the others if you're in the same boat and you're going to be executed? Because really, where's that going to lead if you know that that's going to happen to you? And that's the situation that we're all in right now. So everyone has an innate desire to have happiness, but they can't, they don't know how to get it. We all have the same problem. They all have suffering and they want to avoid it. So another example that I've heard is if there's 10 patients who have a serious illness, then there's no justification for a doctor to discriminate. when treating them. So there's none for you to be biased in terms of wanting to help some beings as opposed to others, because they all have the same equal sickness. So they're all the same in that sense. Now, if you think that there's some people who've been your friends in the past and others, your enemies, and that therefore you should, favor the ones who are your friends, that's not true, because your enemies can become your friends and friends can become enemies. They're not inherently enemies or friends, and we can go into that later in depth. Okay, now, the next point, I look at my notes here, is, now there is an interesting quote from one book. It says, Buddhas see delusion as the enemy, not the childish ones who possess it. So that delusions that people have that make them do silly things and become your enemy or be rude to you is not inherent in those people. It's like you've got a dirty sheet. It doesn't change. You can wash it out and get rid of it. That's not what they are. And there's other people who they're kind to. They're not always bad. So it's the delusions that are the problem, not themselves, because the delusions don't make them. Now, the next point is reflecting on the disadvantages of the self-cherishing attitude. And some people could say, what am I at, 7 minutes?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's cut it there. And then I'll talk more later in a couple days. Okay, and I'll put up the rest of this in brief. Thank you. Bye for now.
What is
Push the button in the back. And then